If you suffer neck pain, it's no joke, and it can be hard to live with. Neck problems can cause headaches, dizziness, nausea, pain down the arm. There's a lot of exercises on the internet on what to do to possibly get some relief. However, some of these exercises can even make you worse. So in this video, we're going to go over some of the worst exercises on the internet so you can avoid them, and then we'll give you a couple tips on what to do. Let's get in the video and we'll take a look. Well, welcome back to the channel. Mauro Burnett, physical therapist and owner of Australian Physiotherapy Specialists, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Thanks for tuning in for today's episode. Today's episode, we're going to go over 6 of the worst exercises that you can do while you're having neck pain. These exercises that we're going to look at, some of them are just non-specific. They don't have a lot of research evidence to support their efficacy, and others are just outright irritating and dangerous and could exacerbate your case. But before we get into exercise 1, let's talk a little bit about what happens when you're in the presence of neck pain. Having this background information is important when we see why some of these exercises are maybe not going to be so effective. The first thing that we want to talk about is tightness in the neck. A lot of my patients will say, wow, my biggest problem is tightness. Should I get a massage? Should I stretch? What should I do to get rid of this tightness? When we're talking about neck tightness, one thing that we need to mention is that the neck tightness is actually a symptom of the problem. It's not the main problem itself. Once your neck is insulted, maybe you slept on the couch wrong, maybe you had an injury, car accident, some type of trauma, there's a few predictable things that are going to happen. You have deep neck muscles inside the neck that stabilize the neck and protect it from the stresses of gravity as we're walking around. Those deep muscles will very quickly begin to atrophy, they'll get weaker. They typically behave in a very tonic fashion. They come on and stay on, but now they're going to start to behave in a more of a phasic. They go on and off. They sputter on and off. Reminds me of my college car. In this scenario, the outer muscles, the large muscles of the neck and the shoulders, the muscles there are going to start to become overly tight. Some experts kind of think of it as 2 people carrying a couch. One puts their end down and the other one has to work twice as hard. So if we want to get the tight muscles to relax, a great idea is we need to think about things differently. We need to think about turning back on the stability muscles to turn off the tight muscles. Now that we have this background information, let's look at exercise number 1. Exercise number 1, the chin tuck. The chin tuck is probably the most popular exercise that I found on the internet when looking for neck pain relief exercises. The chin tuck was invented by a very famous therapist from New Zealand named Robin McKenzie. The idea is if someone has a forward head posture, you bring your chin straight back, kind of in a straight line, it tucks it in, you hold it for a second, and you relax. McKenzie would say, okay, you go in, hold it just enough to say pressure on and pressure off. And you could do 10 reps of this. The idea is solid. Maybe your head is too far forward and it gives you this little stretch. You can stretch out some of the suboccipital muscles or those tight muscles at the base of your head. However, the exercise isn't the best to bring great stability to the neck. And if we do this mainly as a standalone, it could give us some temporary relief from the tightness, but we're going to find that the pain keeps coming back day after day after day. So the chin tuck can have some help, but it's also very limited because, as we mentioned before, we're not really getting to the heart of the problem. We're not getting to bringing back the stability to the neck. If we want to turn off the tight muscles, we've got to turn back on the right muscles. Let's look at exercise number 2. Exercise number 2, neck stretching. Neck stretching was the second most common exercise that I found on the internet for neck pain relief exercise. Neck stretching, at best, could maybe give some temporary relief. We've all seen these exercises where you pull the ear to your shoulder, You hold for a certain amount of time, you do a few reps. And usually it's thought if you do this a little bit every day, this will prevent your neck problems. However, when we mentioned before, when the neck starts to have pain, there's a lot of behind the scenes malfunctioning that occurs. It requires a very specific rehab strategy to overcome some of these chronic neck problems. Neck stretching, unfortunately, is not quite specific enough to deal with all of those problems. At best, it might give some temporary relief, and at worst, stretching into a inflamed nerve or inflamed disc can easily irritate and increase your neck pain after you're finished with your stretching routine. So when it comes to neck stretching, it's not quite like the hamstring that we stretch out in our sports players. Watch out, be careful. It could very easily make your situation worse. Exercise number 3, the corner stretch. The corner stretch is a very popular exercise prescribed to patients all over the world that have suffered neck pain. The idea goes like this. Maybe you have bad posture, your shoulders are forward, your head is forward, and this could lead to tightness in your anterior chest muscles like the pectoralis major. So one exercise could be you go into the corner of the room, put one hand on each wall, and you let yourself stretch forward. The idea is that this could help with your posture and help relieve neck pain. I would say as a standalone, this exercise, again, kind of has limited efficacy. The exercise has never really been shown to be effective for decreasing headaches or decreasing dizziness or decreasing arm pain. And maybe a better way to do this exercise, if we don't want to have these rounded shoulders, is more of an active approach. That's kind of the theme of this whole video, looking at more of active versus passive exercises. So an active exercise might look like this. A little bit tall through the crown of my head, my chin level, got a decent posture. I relax my shoulders and in a gentle way, slightly bring my shoulder blades back and down, maybe a centimeter. Hold this exercise for 10 seconds and then relax. Tall, relax your shoulders, gently bring it back, and maybe you could do this 5 or 10 reps. It's a great exercise to bring strength and stability back to your shoulder blade muscles and stretch out your chest at the same time. In my opinion, this is a better way to go than just lying down on maybe a foam roller and stretching your back, or even getting into the corner and stretching. Getting into the corner and stretching could place your head too far forward, which could put strain on your neck. And lying on your back on the foam roller, if your neck's really sore, sometimes it's hard to get your neck just right, and that could irritate your neck and cause tingling or pain down your arms. The seated version, if it doesn't cause pain down your arms, if it doesn't increase your neck pain, could be the way to go. Let's get into the next exercise. Exercise number 4, neck isometrics. Neck isometrics are another very popular exercise that are prescribed in physical therapy clinics around the world. The idea is you want to strengthen your neck, so you put one hand on the side of your neck and you press, hold, maybe submaximally for 5 seconds, and relax, and you do a series of reps. The problem with this exercise, one, it's mainly working the large muscles of the neck. Sometimes we can think of the muscles of the neck as the really large outer muscles. We can think of those as movement muscles. They lift our head off the pillow. They're very strong. If we were in a rugby match and we're putting our head down and pressing against someone else, that would be the activity of our large muscle groups. Our small muscle groups, I like to think of those more as internal stabilizers. They give us the fine motion between one vertebra moving on another. The inside muscles are usually the ones that malfunction the most when you've had chronic neck pain. The outside muscles become tight, the inside muscles malfunction. So an exercise where I'm just pressing and holding and maybe side to side, maybe forward, maybe back, the difficulty or maybe the lack of specificity of this exercise is that it's mainly an exercise for the large muscles. It's not quite specific enough to really activate the deep muscles. The deep muscles are activated by resisting gravity. So a better way to do this is off and on during your day, especially if you sit at a computer, maybe every 15 minutes. If you sit a little bit tall, bring your chin to level, relax your shoulders, and hold this posture, you're now activating your deep muscles in the front and back of your neck. We could think of those as the core muscles, just by resisting gravity and not letting your spine sag. If you let your spine sag or sit back or sit slouched or lie down a lot, those deep stabilizing muscles are definitely going to get weaker. So resisting gravity, standing, walking, moving, choosing these tall postures is a much better way to target the deep muscles versus something non-specific like this, which is probably going to target more of your large muscles, which are already too tight to begin with. So watch out for non-specific isometrics. Exercise number 5, strong scapular retractions. Scapular retraction exercise is also a very frequent exercise prescribed for someone with neck pain throughout physical therapy centers everywhere. The idea is a solid idea. With neck pain, clinical studies have shown you could end up developing weakness of some of your shoulder blade or scapular muscles, like the middle trapezius and the lower trapezius. So there's different variations of this exercise on the internet. One of the things that I've seen when doing the search that I would say be careful with is very strong versions of the scapula retraction exercise, where you squeeze your shoulder blade back kind of aggressively, hold it for a certain duration of time, and relax. Or maybe even pulling the arms out in this direction. Some of the best experts in the world come out of the University of Queensland in Brisbane, Australia, folks like Professor Gwendolyn Jewell. And if you study with Dr. Jewell and you learn some of her exercises, you find that it's probably better to do scapular exercises in the presence of neck pain, maybe arm pain, maybe headaches, in more of a gentle fashion. You relax the shoulders, gently bring the scapula back and down, but make sure that it's pain-free. Haphazardly doing this or a strong aggressive approach, especially if maybe you're having neck pain that could go down the arm, could easily make this worse. Even with my patients, when I do it gently, if the nerves of the neck are really irritated, sometimes I have to put a pin in this exercise. Let's do some other things. Let's get you feeling better, and we'll come back to it when your nerves calm down. So if you're doing this exercise kind of in a strong manner, if you see some of these exercise tips on the internet, watch out and be careful. In my opinion, doing it in a more soft approach is probably going to be a bit safer and more likely to keep you from flaring up your neck condition. Exercise number 6, strong TheraBand exercises. Strong TheraBand exercises is another exercise that I've seen when doing research on neck relief exercises. For a high-level athlete or minor neck problem, this might be okay. But if you have serious neck problems, headaches, dizziness, nausea, your neck's very unstable, very easy to irritate, then I would say be careful with this as a starter exercise. Maybe do some other exercises to build your strength up and save this exercise when your neck is doing a little bit better. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Here's a piece of TheraBand, maybe medium strength. And if you've seen some of these exercises on the internet, the person holds the TheraBand and they press back and relax, maybe holding for a certain duration of time. Again, for a high-level athlete or maybe minor neck pain, this might be a decent strategy to help strengthen some of the larger muscles of the neck. But if you're looking for strengthening those deep stabilizers, then this may not be quite specific enough to go after those particular muscles. So I would save this exercise to the very end. If this exercise is introduced too early into the rehab, it could easily flare up your neck and maybe make your headaches or dizziness worse, or could even exacerbate arm symptoms. We've done several videos on some really good stability exercises to improving neck pain. So we're going to tag this to this video. So check in the description, check out some of the videos that we're going to have loaded for you to maybe give you some better things to do. But that's our 6 exercises. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this in the future. And we'll see you next time on Physio Tips with Mara.